Okay. I have a job I have to do, so I'm gonna just do this quick. This is Paul. It's Paul Ober. I don't want to fuck up your name, man, but I want to say Ober. Um, and I guess he listened to the NPR. Oh, God damn it. Whatever. I guess he listened to the NPR interview a while back, and he reached out to me, and we've just been in mild contact ever since then. Seems like a nice guy. He puts in work. See him hustling, and so I just asked him if he wanted to do this. So, Paul, thank you for doing this, and yeah, let's learn about him, shall we?
Hey, Aaron. Just wanted to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do this. You're kidding. Okay, that was the dog upstairs. Anyways, just waiting. Okay. Stop. I started doing stand-up comedy back in 2018. I've been doing it for 2.5 years technically, but like 6 months of that was really a complete break, and not including quarantine either. So I guess I'm still pretty new. But I guess my story starts before that, and it was I had graduated college. And I got into this like dumb pyramid scheme, an LLC pyramid scheme, which is when you're technically franchising, but the larger company owns everything about you, and it's horrible. Horrible, horrible. But I was an idiot. And I got convinced to move to Cincinnati by a regional manager who wanted to make money off of me. And so I moved to Cincinnati, one of the most racist places on earth. And I hated my job every single minute of the day. I hated motivating people to do something that I hated. And the problem was that I was pretty good at it. And so I kept moving my way up, and I was getting on sales calls, and eventually I started getting calls from people around the nation on how to do sales, on how to train people. And I liked the motivational speaking portion. I liked getting up in front of people and talking. I just hated myself for what I was convincing people to do. And so I was pretty depressed. I was in Cincinnati for about 2 years, a little over that. And then I moved out to Baltimore to open my own branch, quote unquote. And there, actually, I went to a stand-up comedy show with some people that I hated. And I don't know, it just kind of like lit a fire under me. One of the biggest laughs that I ever got in my life came from when I was younger, and I watched Cat Williams' special on the first TV that I ever got that my parents put in my room. I think I was like 13. And I would stay up till like 11, 12 at night on Comedy Central watching that, just trying to suppress my laughter because I was laughing so hard. Then eventually, later on, in like 2013, it was Jim Jeffries who made me laugh uncontrollably. And that was when like the seed of being an actual comedian was planted, but it was something that I thought was impossible, so I didn't focus on it. So you fast forward to Maryland, I walked into my new regional manager man. I hate that guy so much. He had like Napoleon syndrome, very, very bad. He put down everybody around him in public. It was horrible. He's a bad person. But I was always afraid to say something to him because I had told all my friends that I was going to do well with this. And finally I got fed up. My depression was so bad that the week of when my branch was going to open, with a physical location and everything, with an office, I walked into that guy's office. I sat down, I looked him in the eye, and I said, I'm quitting. I'm done with this. I actually hate this job. And he looked at me dumbfounded because I'm pretty sure he had dropped thousands of dollars expecting this branch to like do really well. And he stares at me and he says, okay, that's fine. But if you could respect me enough to tell me why, that would help me out a lot. So I looked at him and I said, because I hate you. And I hate almost everybody that I work with. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. And he said, okay. In this like weird sort of short man Barack Obama voice that he had, which, and I said, okay, thanks for the opportunity. See you later. And I walked out. And I moved back in with my parents back in Massachusetts, and that's where I grew up. And when I was Ubering, and I was still depressed because I didn't really know what to do with my life, I decided to start writing a sitcom. And that sitcom's called Suburban Stoners, and I'm still trying to find somebody to pick it up. Maybe one day, fingers crossed. I'm still writing it, trying to perfect it still. And now, in this point in the story, we're in 2017. Started Ubering into 2018, and I just start going to open mics to get better at comedy. And I think I bombed the first 19 times in a row I did stand-up comedy. I was in a horrible place. I was only looking for other people to like me. I expected laughs when there shouldn't have been laughs. I paused in horrible times. I wasn't being myself at all. I was trying to be all these comics that I admired. I was trying to be Jim Jeffries. I was trying to be Robin Williams, Cat Williams, and I was doing it horribly. Eventually, on the 20th time on the dot, I took a few shots at the bar. I took my boyfriend at the time. It was his first time seeing me do stand-up. I knew I was going to do horrible. And he invited his parents. This was my first time meeting my boyfriend's dad and his stepmom and his sister and her wife. So they're all in the bar, and I included his dad in the set, and the entire set was about me and my boyfriend's sexual relationship, and I murdered it. I got a standing ovation at the end. It made me fall in love with it. It made me believe that I can do it. And I started getting a lot more success around Boston and Massachusetts mics from then on. And I was hooked. The big thing was that I felt trapped by Massachusetts because I didn't know a single soul in the comedy community at that time that wanted to do everything comedy related, that wanted it as a job. And I'm sure that those people were there. I just didn't meet them, or maybe I was too nervous to meet them. But I felt suffocated by the environment a little bit because, not because I was like, oh, I'm a big fish in a small pond. No, dumb. No, Boston is incredible, and the comedy scene is incredible. My experience with the people that I met, nobody wanted to go to the next step. And so it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I got to move. I got to move somewhere to follow this dream. And the two options were New York and California. New York smells horrible, and I hate New York. I hate New York with a passion, so realistically there was only one option, and that was Los Angeles. And to my huge surprise, my boyfriend decided to move with me. So we moved to Huntington Beach, and here I am. And that's the story of how I got here. My big thing was that, grinding the open mic scene in Orange County, eventually, after way too long, getting into LA, doing open mics and booked mics there, finally starting to get booked, finally starting to go from that point of I suck and sometimes do well to I do well and sometimes I suck, which was huge for me. Just learning how to be myself on stage way more. The writing got better, all that stuff. I got my first ever Comedy Store booking for April 3rd. I was going to open for John Campanelli in the Belly Room. I was excited. I got my first booking at Flappers. That was for 2 weeks later. I was on cloud 9. And of course, April 3rd was in the middle of the coronavirus epidemic. And so I got bumped by a bunch of people dying. Selfish. At least it wasn't by a shitty comic or a mean comic, But yeah, I guess my approach to comedy is to just have as much fun as possible. I love the culture. I love people who do it. My favorite thing about comedy in California is that everybody loves it here. And in Boston, the scene is just a little bit different. A lot of people love going to open mics and getting hammered and going up on stage. And you know what? Maybe I was just a little bit salty because most of the time there I sucked. And maybe that's why nobody wanted to collaborate and do anything with me. That's way more likely to be true, actually. Maybe there was that group of people, but they were a club and I did not have the password. And so when I moved here, people said, don't go there. There's way too much competition. And it's that's not how I think about it at all. I'm surrounded by people who love this just as much as me. And that's fun. I do have to shout out Wonder Bar in Cambridge, though. Oh my God, everybody involved in that, phenomenal. I hope this was listenable. I'm so sorry if this was horrible. But yeah, I would describe my style as sort of over the top too. I get angry about a lot of things, get happy about a lot, and I get a little bit passionate. People seem to think it's funny when I do. Maybe they're doing that little in-between thing where they're laughing at me and laughing with me. Because, like, in my brain, I'm making good points, but I know that I come off as an idiot most of the time. That's it. I love the show. Thank you, Aaron, so much for letting me on. Thank you for the opportunity, and love you, dude. Keep up what you're doing.